All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Borderplex Supplier Association meeting. I am Natalie Littlefield. I'm the Vice President of Strategy at the Borderplex Alliance. And for those of you who are not familiar with our organization, the Borderplex Alliance is a 501c3 nonprofit organization focusing on economic development. And we focus on three core areas, and that is policy advocacy, business attraction, and strategy. And so this association is in support of our local manufacturing supplier associations to also include value-add agriculture businesses. So today's agenda is full of outstanding panelists. I'm very excited about this discussion today. They're going to be talking about some resources that are available to help your company do more e-commerce for exporting. So we know that using online platforms can help you access new customers and new markets. With the pandemic, as you well know, with everything being shut down, there was really a light shown on the need to further utilize these online platforms. And it's really been an area where you could really accelerate your company. And so I think governments have recognized that. And so there's been new resources that have been developed or redirected towards e-commerce for exporting. And so today's panelists will be talking about these different types of resources that you can use regardless of your location in the Borderplex region. We have speakers from the state of New Mexico, Texas, and Mexico. So we're covering the full region today and have some really fascinating resources and people to talk today. So anyway, want to jump in. We have a really packed agenda. We have 4 different speakers today. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and I'll get to some important updates at the end. Also, for the agenda, since we do have 4 speakers in an hour, we're going to go ahead and go back to back with each speaker. And then at the end, we'll hold all questions until the end. And then I'll also, at the end, give you some updates of Supplier Association special initiatives. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce you to Luis Godoy Rueda. And Luis is General Director at the Global Economic Intelligence Unit at the Mexican Ministry of Economy, where he coordinates the Data and Economic Intelligence team. He earned a Master of Public Administration at Columbia University in New York, specializing in economic and political development. He studied economics and political science at the Instituto Tecnológico Autónomo de México in Mexico City. He has more than 10 years of experience in the public and private sector and in international organizations such as OPI Analytics, Data Pop Alliance, among others. He is in charge of Data Mexico, Comercia MX, as well as other digital platforms that seek to improve public policy decision-making focused on innovation, inclusion, and diversification of the Mexican economy. So with that, Luis, I'm going to pass it over to you to talk more about all of the great resources that you all have developed.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Thank you to the Borderplex Alliance and all my colleagues that are here in this meeting. Cheers from Mexico. So let me introduce myself and the place I work at. First of all, my name is Luis Godoy, and as Natalie was mentioning, I work at the Ministry of Economy, and I'm in charge of different digital platforms that help SMEs in the promotion of their businesses. I'm going to talk today about Comercia MX, which is a new platform we just launched a couple of months ago, actually 2 months ago, so it's pretty new. And we launched it with the Interdevelopment Bank, which is a close ally for us, and specifically with Connect Americas, which probably you may know about this digital platform already. Connect Americas is probably one of the best social networks for companies across the Americas. And so we launched together Comercia MX, which is the platform I'm going to show you today. But before that, first let me tell you that the work that we do at the Global Economic Intelligence Unit within the Ministry of Economy is in 4 directions. We have basically 4 mandates. First one, the promotion, attraction, and retention of foreign direct investment in Mexico. Second, the foreign trade promotion agenda. We promote the Mexican export ecosystem. Third, we produce economic intelligence information, and that's why I invite you to also check Data Mexico, which is a new platform that we also launched last year. And fourth, we also help small and medium enterprises to get into global supply chains. So we define criteria, actions, and policies around supply chains in Mexico to help SMEs to integrate to this global value chains. So with this is our mandate. We have established a strategy here in Mexico that we believe is a way to integrate more SMEs into the global markets. And we're doing this with economic intelligence, and specifically with a couple of interesting methodologies. One, economic complexity. We're using economic complexity as the framework to analyze and to also deliver recommendations to investors, to Mexican companies, so they can improve their decision making, and also data. No, and of course, data is at the center of all the new discussions that we have related to trade, to digital economy, but we need to take it in serious. So that's why we launched Data Mexico, which again, I invite you to visit datamexico.org, where you will find a lot of important information regarding the Mexican economy and so on. So this is the strategy. And now just let me briefly tell you about why we launched the Comercia MX, which is a platform that I'm going to show you. First of all, as you know, Mexico is an important export platform. We are one of the top countries exporting, and the size of our international commerce is even larger than the GDP of some countries. So it is an important part of our economy, but however, we saw some disparities, inequalities, and concentrations with foreign trade in Mexico. As you know, 98% of the companies that export are big companies. So only 2% of our exports come from medium, small, and medium enterprises. This is important information for us, because one of the things that we need to do in Mexico is to integrate more SMEs into foreign trade. We need to help them to achieve and to take advantage of our trade network and the foreign trade platform that we have. The second thing that is part of the diagnosis that we have is that, and this replicates all over the world, is that there's lack of information with the SMEs. So this is, according to several surveys in Mexico, the major barrier to access global value chains. When you ask SMEs why they don't export from the point of view of Mexico, of course, 35% of the SMEs answer that they don't have enough information. So this is important for the governments around the world, because first of all, to deliver sufficient and adequate information is something that we can achieve. It's not as probably complicated as finance or trainings and other more complex agendas around global trade. Information, it is one of the major barriers, but it is also a quick win for us to achieve this idea of integrating more SMEs into foreign trade. The third thing that we have analyzed, and this is important in the context of Comercia MX, is that specialized information and consulting firms are not an option for SMEs. We're trying to deliver a strategic or economic intelligence to these SMEs, because definitely they cannot afford to pay for consulting services to identify market opportunities and learn more about procedures, certifications, and the attraction of investment too. So finally, digitalization and the digital economy opens a huge opportunities for SMEs. And as Natalie was saying at the beginning, digital platforms are something that reduce trade costs and increase the participation of SMEs in the global value chains. One of the examples that we always put on this is that, as you know, many of the business conferences that were happening before the pandemic were physical, and they were very costly for SMEs. So when a Mexican company went to, Singapore or Taiwan or Korea to have to try to close a deal, it was costly. It was not something that most of the SMEs have access to. So digital platforms actually reduce those costs, because you can have this business conference, this matchmaking processes online. So this is a huge opportunity, and of course, after the pandemic, this is something we need to still to encourage more. So that's why basically we launched Comercia MX, which is this new social digital platform for SMEs. And now let me just briefly introduce you some of the functionalities and why I encourage you to be part of Comercia MX. I invite you all to actually go online and check comerciamx.gov.mx, where you will find the platform, and you'll find many of this information is completely free, accessible. Some of the functionalities I'm going to tell you, you will access if you register, but that's I'm going to explain you after. First of all, you'll find in Comercia MX a business directory. You'll find right now we have more than 400,000 companies from all over the world, and we have 80,000 Mexican companies already part of the network of Comercia MX. So it is international network of business contact, customers, suppliers, partners, investors. It is not, a traditional B2B or B2C or a marketplace. It is a specific type of platform where you can find many type of matches that the different businesses have. And this is an important thing. We are inviting to the businesses that are not only part of the they don't have only products, but also services. So the agenda of exportation of services is really important for Comercia MX too. You'll find in Comercia MX business opportunities, specific business opportunities. So for example, you'll find an opportunity, I don't know, in Israel from a company that is looking for a Mexican product. So we want to provide direct connection to potential customers of Mexican products around the world. Also, we offer business support services and very important business communities. So you'll find the specific communities in Comercia MX where you can interact with the type of businesses that they are suffering, or that they have the similar questions or similar task to do. So I invite you to check the business communities. We have some of them very active, such as the Women Export business community, which is very active, and it provides a lot of a very important network. So I think my time is, I'm going to end here, just 30 more seconds, and I'm going to be done. I invite you all to enter to Comercia MX. It is a trustable, we verify the companies that are part of this network. And so I invite you to be part of Comercia MX. You'll find trainings, you'll find ways to connect to global value chains, and of course, you'll find financing programs from the point of view of Mexico. So any questions you have, I'll be here. And thank you very much, Natalie, and all the colleagues that are here.
Thank you so much, Luis. And I know that was a very quick introduction to Comercia MX. Christian Diaz has provided a link to the platform in the chat box. And also mid to late June, we're going to host a workshop for any company who'd like to know more about the platform. We're going to walk you through the process of signing up. And they're looking for, I know that they're looking for companies on both sides of the border, because it's obviously, to make those matches, it requires not only Mexican companies to sign up, but also the different companies in other parts of the world, including the United States. So anyone who's on this call who's interested in utilizing the platform to connect, let's please do that. And I'll just make a note, also that there's been a lot of conversation about increasing the percentage of sales of products and services that are created locally. This is one way to do it. It's a platform that's already created through the Mexican government and I believe it's the IDB. And so this is one tool that we can utilize to help increase sales. So with that, I'm going to go to our next speaker. And Luis, by the way, thank you so much for being with us. That was an excellent presentation. I've seen the full presentation. There's a lot more. So thank you for being flexible. And then if anyone has any questions for Luis at the end, please put that in the Q&A box. So I'm going to jump to our next speakers with the New Mexico Trade Alliance. With us, we have Randy Trask. Randy Trask is the founder and president of the New Mexico Trade Alliance, which is a nonprofit economic development organization out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Prior to founding the New Mexico Trade Alliance, Randy maintained the state of New Mexico's international relations with Mexico as the Director of Mexican Affairs and Trade. In the New Mexico Trade Alliance, he currently oversees the New Mexico Metro Area's Export Promotion and Foreign Direct Investment Program, the New Mexico Trade and Higher Education Center of Mexico City, and is the state of New Mexico's contractor to manage the SBA STEP grant, which is what Randy and Celeste are going to talk about today. The Trade Alliance is also proud to serve at the Air Force Research Lab's Economic and Workforce Development contractor. There's more there, but I'll jump to Celeste, who's also going to be speaking from the New Mexico Trade Alliance. Celeste is the International Marketing Manager for the New Mexico Trade Alliance, and she connects New Mexico companies with export assistance and resources and helps them successfully apply to the SBA-funded New Mexico State Trade Expansion Program. In 2019, Celeste served as the organizer for Albuquerque Chihuahua City Bilateral Commission, an agreement with an objective to develop programs of mutual benefit to meet common needs and promote cooperation in the areas of economic development, tourism, and cultural exchange. She's also a member of the 2020 U.S. Global Leadership Coalition's Next Gen Global Leaders Network. And she is a first-generation business professional with a passion for creating economic opportunity in her state. So thank you so much, Randy and Celeste, for being with us. And I'm going to pass this over to you to talk more about the New Mexico State's STEP program.
Sure, awesome. Thank you, Natalie, and thanks to the Borderplex. I'm going to try and leave as much time to Celeste as I can, because the goodies are what the companies want to know about more than the rest of the stuff that we work on. But real quickly, I'll just mention us and our services for especially the New Mexico companies that are participating. We have kind of 3 areas that we cover. We do education, so we have seminars throughout the whole year, and now in COVID times, webinars, where we cover different international topics. Feel free to check out our website at nmtradealliance.org to sign up for our mail list and or follow our social media pages, and you'll see as those happen throughout the year. We do a lot of company consultations for anything international business related. So it could be anything from a product stuck in customs to not knowing how to fill out export documentation, to needing a certificate of free sale, to export compliance questions. Anything that a company may come across, we can support either directly or through our network of partners. So please reach out to us if anything along those lines comes your way. And then, of course, lastly, we have our business development side. We lead trade missions throughout the year. Our next trade mission we're probably going to be doing will be end of August for a medical show in Miami. We'll have a New Mexico pavilion. If there are any companies participating or that you may know that are interested in that, please reach out to us. We have space at the booth for free for New Mexico companies in that sector. We'll also be doing a webinar in June on the 23rd. So feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in supply chain logistics and addressing supply chain risk will be the focus of that one. So with that, on the business development side, we're proud to support this STEP grant as one of the most important resources that's available to local companies to offset the costs of international business development. So I'll let Celeste take over.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Celeste, and I'm going to share my screen to present about the New Mexico STEP Grant. Really excited to be connecting with you all today, and hopefully we can work together to get you guys some money. So the New Mexico STEP Grant is a reimbursement grant program for New Mexico companies to gain or grow international sales. The funds are provided by the US SBA, and the program is administered by the state. The state is particularly interested in this program because helping companies export is an economic development initiative for the state. It helps companies grow, and it brings in new money into our state. So understanding why it's an economic development initiative, what are the benefits to a company? Well, according to the SBA, companies are limiting themselves by just working domestically. The 95% of consumers are outside of the US. And when you tap into that larger pool, your market share and your market revenues are larger. And having new revenues generated outside of the US actually is a business development tool for companies because it helps them grow their sales faster, generate new jobs, and in general, companies that export are less likely to go out of business. It just becomes a tool that helps build resiliency and strength for companies. And let me click the next one. So understanding the STEP grant, its purpose, what is the eligibility criteria? Pretty simple. You must be a registered company with the state of New Mexico. Your goods or services must have at least 51% US content. You must have been in operation for at least a year, and you have 500 or less employees. So these eligibility criteria are very favorable to a lot of New Mexico companies because a lot of them are eligible. So what activities does the grant cover? Here's a list of, in general, the eligible expenses. Again, the grant is made to help companies generate international sales. So when a company wants to take that first step into, first exporting or even gaining a new market, there's costs associated with that. So the grant is there to help offset those costs and incentivize companies to generate those sales. So right now, it's a very unique position because the SBA has broadened some of those limits and the grant cycles, and companies can actually take advantage of up to 3 of these different eligible expenses. So trade show, one of the major ways that companies can actually start to meet foreign buyers is by participating in shows. You can participate in shows abroad. You could participate in a show domestic, so long as you could prove that the show has a significant international buyer presence. Now this is up to 10 grand, and it will cover your registration, it will cover your booth, marketing costs. Maybe you need to hire an interpreter at the show. It's very flexible. The only thing is it won't cover personal expenses or travel. And this can be applied to virtual shows as well. Now, website optimization, the purpose of this meeting today is to talk about e-commerce and the way that you can use e-commerce platforms to begin exporting. And that's something that the SBA observed during the pandemic as well. And understanding that companies can use this money to enhance their websites and implement e-commerce platforms to generate international sales. This category, though, isn't limited to just implementing a payment platform. You could use it to, update your website, have it translated, search engine optimization, make sure that your website appears on the top of searches in your target markets. And again, this is up to $10,000. This is a very easy one to go after, if I may add that. Market research, when a company wants to start exporting, you might want to get some information on where you're looking at, and market research is done by the Department of Commerce for Foreign Commercial Service. So they'll actually look at a plethora of global databases and pick out specific data points that they identify in a consultation with you, and generate lists of potential markets, lists of potential countries, even in-depth country research reports to let you know what segments to look at a specific country. And finally, product registration. The STEP grant is eligible to pay up to $6,000 for compliance testing in another market. So as you can see, the STEP grant can be used for a variety of activities. And again, the company can use up to 3 of these. So we're looking at, up to $26,000. So application documents. So the application begins with a consultation. We really like to connect with companies and talk about what opportunities are available to them, maybe what eligible expenses would suit them the best. But what we'll need from you is, for any activity that you decide to pursue, we'll need proof of cost. So, you know, trade show, you can use up to 10 grand. Well, if you're requesting 10 grand, we just need to see documentation that shows that you would have those expenses of $10,000. And a company price quote. This is just for the state's Department of Finance. It's just a formal documentation on company letterhead that, you know, solidifies your request. Then once I have those, I'll actually work with the company one-on-one to complete your SBA STEP grant application forms and make sure that they're completed correctly. And in order for the state to award the funds, you'll need to be set up as a vendor. So that might require you to fill out a state substitute W-9. Once we have these documents together, I will submit it to the state. The state will approve your program or not, issue a PO. And then after the event, because this is a reimbursement program, you would invoice and receive a check. And I think we're out on time. So I'm really excited to work with you guys. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. But again, my job is to help you guys successfully utilize these funds. So thank you.
Thank you, Celeste. Thank you, Randy. Phenomenal program, and you all are doing so much. You have Celeste's contact on the page there, but also Christian has put both Randy's and Celeste's email addresses in the chat box in case you want to reach out to them directly. And he's also included the link to the website where you can find more information. I want to quickly mention that it's very exciting that the New Mexico Trade Alliance, through a recent contract with the state, has expanded their services to the full state. So they weren't previously offering services to southern New Mexico, and now they are. So just keep in mind, this is new. It didn't exist before for you, and now it does. So please take advantage of that. And thank you to Celeste and Randy for your presentation. So now I'm going to pass it to our Texas State Representative, Nora Noble-Christoff. Nora is a grants coordinator at the Texas Department of Agriculture and oversees the State Trade Expansions Program, STEP program, that was just discussed, but for the state of Texas, and they all work differently. She works differently with Texas, or works directly with Texas small businesses through the complete STEP process, from the application phase to the post-award details, and diligently helps small businesses to have access to exporting opportunities. Prior, Ms. Noble-Christoff worked on the Community Development Block Grant Program, where she helped assist rural communities revitalize their towns. She holds a Master of Public Administration from Texas State University and a Bachelor's of Science in Animal Science and Business Management from the University of California at Davis. So Nora, welcome, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the introduction, Natalie. So my presentation is actually going to be fairly similar to Celeste, and she did a wonderful job, and Texas kind of runs the program similarly. So for everything that we kind of went over, that New Mexico went over, I might kind of go through kind of quickly and then get to other things that might be a little bit different with Texas. And I will share my screen now.
Nora, we hear a little bit of an echo. I'm not sure if it's your headpiece or something else.
It could be my headpiece. Let me see. Yeah. Sorry about that. In the office, it's always a little bit different.
All these technical difficulties with virtual meetings.
Is that a little bit better?
Casey suggests that you might need to plug and unplug your headphone.
Okay. How about now?
That's much better. Thank you.
Is it better? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so as Celeste already mentioned, the Small Business Administration offers the State Trade Expansion Program, and each state and U.S. territory can apply for this and help small businesses within the state. And I help run this program in Texas. So the Texas Department of Agriculture received the State Trade Expansion Program from the U.S. Small Business Administration, and we get this about every year. The funding varies each year, but we usually open for application around this time or sometimes later in the summer. And really, the purpose for this grant is to provide financial assistance to increase the number of small businesses that are exporting, increase the value of exports for those small businesses that are currently exporting, and create or expand small business export capacity. So some of the eligibility, which Celeste already went over, includes being organized and incorporated in the U.S. and operate in the U.S. Also have 51% U.S. content. This could kind of vary between manufacturing, marketing, labeling, and packaging. So if you ever have any concerns, feel free to reach out to me if you are eligible for that 51%. And of course, you also have to meet the industry-based small business size standard, which is established through the Small Business Act of the SBA. And you're able to go on their website to really look at this to see if you qualify. And all you need is your NAICS code to see that. And also, you have to be in business for at least 1 year to apply, and the company has to be for profit. We do mention some things about having exporting experience, but we'll go into that a little bit later in this presentation. So within the state of Texas, to follow other eligible criteria, you have to be in good standing with the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. Also have a federal identification number tied to a Texas address, and have a product or service manufactured or produced in Texas. So when you apply, you usually apply under two separate things, either market expansion or new to export. So if you are going to check the market expansion box, that means you are a small business who has some export experience and are either targeting one market or more than one market. So what we would like to see is that you are either expanding into a new country, or if you are already established, say, in Mexico, that you're kind of using this grant to either seek new opportunity in a different region, or if you have a new product that you kind of want to expand in that existing market. And of course, we are more than welcome to people who are new to export. And this is basically defined as no export experience within the past 24 months. So what we offer at Texas is the Export Stipend Program. So a company applies and can ask for up to $10,000 and then use that funds as they see fit on approved export activities. So for our program, stipend awards are really based on funding availability, the number of applications that are submitted, the strength and completeness of the applications, and applications that wouldn't be considered would be any that are late, weak, or just incomplete. And of course, if you have any questions during this process, I'd be more than happy to help you fill out the application. And the stipend also really varies, which I mentioned before. So sometimes we're awarded a little bit more 1 year than the other. So sometimes we have that ability to award more companies. And then additionally, we do require a matching amount. So this is kind of like the company's contribution, just showing that they are willing to really work with this grant. So it's 15% of whatever you're asking for. So if you're asking for that, full 10,000 amount, then you have to spend 1,500 out of pocket. So here are the stipend activities, and some of these Celeste went over, but there are more that are available. So one of them is the U.S. Commercial Services. So this is the same thing kind of as market research. This is a government agency that can help you with like goal key matching, international partner searches, and market checks, and they can help you facilitate meetings between different countries and those businesses. We also have market analysis. So this could be a third-party company or anybody that you kind of want to work with to do kind of similar things to the U.S. commercial services. As mentioned before, we allow for the compliance testing, and that's capped at $6,000. Any export counseling or training programs is also allowed, especially if you want to have certain people in your company kind of be trained and help you expand your product into different markets. We also allow fees for shipping sample products, and that's up to $4,000. So if you're going to a trade show, of course, you could ship over there, or if you are just going for a business meeting and would like to send some sample products along. We also have non-state coordinated participation in trade missions, trade shows, or sale trips. So right now in Texas, we don't have any Texas-led missions that work with the STEP grant at the moment. But if you have any that you're interested in attending, you're more than welcome to participate, and the full $10,000 goes towards that. Any subscription to export research tools, this can be like an excellent way to kind of see if a market is worth exploring. And usually these are kind of e-commerce not e-commerce, website platforms that you can look at. And then of course, what we were really talking about is the website design and e-commerce. So this is capped at $10,000, and you could use it for translation, search engine optimization, localization services, and of course that e-commerce or any payment platform that you see fit that will really help you export. This kind of goes over a little bit more of the eligible expenses, especially with like traveling and lodging. So if you do want to go have a business meeting or go to a trade show, there are certain criteria that you have to follow. But of course, we could go into that more in detail once you're awarded. And I would also just like to mention a few ineligible expenses. The main one on this list is wages, salaries, benefits, bonuses, or other employee incentives would be ineligible. So the reason why I mention this is we really want to have companies go with third-party companies to design their websites. So hiring someone in your company would be ineligible, but going for a third-party company to develop your website or do your e-commerce is perfectly fine. The other few things that I would like to mention on this list is for any design of marketing media that you want to do. So you're allowed to do social media ads, design of brochures, anything for trade shows that you would like to do. If you are making those brochures, that is an eligible expense in designing and translating those, but any printing costs associated with that would be ineligible. And just the overall one in general would be like capital goods, product samples, and supplies. So anything like the cost of doing business would be ineligible under the STEP grant. So how do you apply? So you could visit www.texasagriculture.gov. There's a grants and service button, and then you'll find the STEP grant. And then you will be filling out these required forms. So there will be a STEP request for application, which is instructions. Then the application and a budget, which is basically the budget will go over how you'll be spending your money. And as Celeste mentioned before, we do require the W-9 pay identification number and direct deposit, which basically sets you up as a vendor to receive those reimbursements. Currently, our application is not open, but it will be shortly. We're hoping that will be up next week. And those will be the funds for 2022. So your grant term would start in September if you apply for now. And if you have any questions, this is my contact information, and feel free to contact me at any time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nora. And if anyone is wondering why there's similarities and differences, these grants, the STEP program, as it's called, is a U.S. Small Business Administration grant. It's given to the different states, and the states decide how they're going to administer the grant. So it's slightly different in each state. And so Christian, again, has put in the chat box the link to the website where you can apply, and Nora's email address as well, in case you want to reach out to Nora directly to talk more about the program. And yes, so Nora, as Nora mentioned, that grant application is going to be opening any time now in the next couple of weeks. Nora, how long will the application period be open? How long?
Yeah, it's usually open for 6 weeks, so you have a fair amount of time. So I wish I had a more solidified date, but I'm really hoping probably next Monday or Tuesday. Well, not Monday, it's a holiday. Next Tuesday it will be open.
Okay, so anyone who's interested needs to keep checking the website. Is that fair to say, Nora?
Yes, and if you actually want to go on the website now, there is a link where you could be notified. So it's just right under all those forms lists that I showed previously in the slide. And they could click on that, put their email address in, and once it opens, it will notify them by email.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Nora.
Thank you.
All right. Last but not least, we have Alma Aranda with the Workforce Solutions Borderplex. And I've had the pleasure of working with Alma directly, and so I'm very excited to have her with us. She is currently the Workforce Development Director at Workforce Solutions Borderplex. Prior to this role, she served as the Interim Director of the Workforce Development Department and has led the department through a most disruptive and critical time in this past year, of course, the pandemic. She has been with Workforce Solutions Borderplex for 4 years, serving in the programs department. During her tenure, she has helped to develop several innovative projects, including the comprehensive wage and supply chain analyses, as well as new funding opportunities, including the UTEP Teacher Prep Program, and most recently, the Texas Tech Nursing Program. Prior to joining WSB, Ms. Aranda worked for Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center as a unit coordinator. She also has previous work experience with WSB, having served as a program coordinator and case manager. Ms. Aranda studied at El Paso Community College and is currently pursuing a degree in psychology at University of Phoenix. And Alma is a well-known person in the community, partners with many people on the call. So welcome, Alma. We're excited to hear about the new program that relates to e-commerce.
Sure, thank you for that. Good afternoon, everyone. As Natalie mentioned, Workforce, for those of you that are not familiar, Workforce Solutions Borderplex is a local workforce development board under the umbrella of the Texas Workforce Commission. So operations-wise, we are governed by the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, which is an initiative of the Department of Labor. So the actual function of that is to support employers in their development and expansion by having a trained and ready skilled workforce for them. That is kind of how this varies everything. So there is a lot of opportunities for us to support employers in their training needs to be able to do that. So our primary focus is to provide you those resources, and this is based on needs of regional employers right now. So there's a couple of resources that I wanted to talk to you all about that we can help you connect you with. So in order to expand your e-commerce platform and other things that you might need down the line. So one of the easiest ways to access training funds for your business right now is through our incumbent worker training program. So every year under the Workforce Opportunity Investment Act, we call that WIOA, we earmark, WSB purposely earmarks a percentage of funding and kind of saves that for employers who need incumbent worker training. So it's really quite easy. Depending on the size of your company, there's some limitations of what we can fund, but it's really quite expansive. So if any of you are interested in that, we can definitely help you. And that can, for example, that could be ISO training and certification. We know that is sometimes really expensive for some employers, and they don't necessarily have the funds to pay for that training. And this is where we can support, because by allowing certifications and training, platforms like that, we know that not only your workforce is in a better position, but your company as well. At the state level, there are several resources that we partner with Texas Workforce Commission, which is our governing agency at the state level, that also focus on employers. So there's a whole department, Office of Employer Initiatives, that can provide you access to things like that. So for example, right now, I currently have funding right now under skills development, a skills development fund grant. So I have funding for employers who are interested in e-commerce, supply chain optimization, and telehealth services. Those are the three pillars that we kind of chose to apply for. So there's current funding for that available if any of you those are interested. That is set to expire in the next couple weeks, like maybe 2 months. But I already have another grant kicking in that will be able to just kind of continue down that pathway. So that's readily available to you. All of these fundings, I will say though, is a first come first serve type of scenario. So if you are interested, I definitely encourage you to reach out. Christian just posted my email on the chat. So I definitely can connect you in and we can start kind of looking at those resources as well. There's two other sources of funding that I also wanted to discuss with you. There's also what we call regular skills development funding, and that is very particular to your company. So we partner up with one of the community colleges, that could be regional or that could be at the state level, or a public technical college, and they can customize training for your company exactly to what you need. So it can be a series of different things that you want, and that's an application that we all kind of can work on together. But that allows you to bring in up to $500,000 of training funds as well. And we've utilized that quite a bit more in the region in the last couple of years. And that's a great opportunity. There's also a separate grant that's even easier to access, and it's just skills development for small businesses. So that's readily available as well. And these are ongoing grants. So it's not like there's a period of grant and if you miss that deadline, you don't apply. It's just one of those things. It's just the way that the way they have it, it's through funding cycles. So it's always available, but of course, in the sense of first come first services. So there's a lot of applications. They might just, have that money already set aside. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is there's also an opportunity for what we call Texas Industry Partnership, the TIP grant. In working with Natalie, she was really one of the ones that really kind of kicked that off in the region a couple of years ago. So with that one, we partner with a qualified partner. It could be a foundation, it can be an employer, it could be private sector, and then the state pitches in. So it's a dollar for dollar match, and our region can bring in up to $150,000 for a project. So it's very project based. So we can look at a consortium type of style, bringing in several small businesses. It really depends on what you need. So in addition to those resources, I mean, we have a lot of other support services that we can offer, but that is what I wanted to kind of explain to you and provide to you today as you're thinking about these opportunities for e-commerce and your supply chain possible growth. You have resources in the community that are here to assist. So just depending on the needs, we can provide that consultation and see, well, and it's not choosing one or the other either. I also want to make that clear. Like, for example, we can start with incumbent worker while we're working on an SDF grant. So it's not like one or the other. So some of those are stackable options and resources that we're here to provide for you.
Fantastic, Alma. A quick follow-up question for you on a couple of things. Just I wanted to highlight your digital transformation program. You have a team of people. This is a new program. I know it's a model for the state of Texas. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about what that entails?
Actually, I'm just going to share. I'm going to brag a little bit. This is a program that I implemented about a year ago as a response to to COVID. So we know that in our region, 70% of our employers are small business employers. And by small category is 100, but we know that most of them are micro small. So the digital transformation program was created to help employers integrate technology, whatever their next level is to get there. That's what we wanted to support with. So it started off with the concept of having these consultants that are both experts in IT, but also marketing, digital marketing, and really kind of optimizing all of those things. So the SEO and all those components kind of come into play. So they would meet with the businesses, provide a one-on-one consultation. This program is still active, by the way. And as it started to kind of grow and really kind of catch on to what we were trying to do for the community, we were reacting to what was going on, but we knew that we were building in a sustainable options for these employers and growth. We ended up partnering with this started with a partnership with Microsoft, and we ended up partnering with the city and the county, and to just kind of expand and provide more consultation services. What the county ended up doing was realizing the consultation services are great, but if the businesses can't afford to buy, sometimes even the necessary tech related equipment, that can hinder, you know, the options that they have. So the county was able to help to provide funding for us. So now you're getting the consultation piece, the training as well, showing you how to train to continue to do that. And then we have the opportunity to buy actual equipment. And just FYI, sharing with everybody, this project was just presented to Congress earlier today.
Congratulations, that is amazing. And it's an amazing program. And Alma, so just to clarify, this program is ongoing if any company wants to take advantage of it.
I have funding to carry us through until September, hoping that we're going to be able to continue to do that.
Okay.
But right now I do have a healthy pot of funding if anybody's interested. And it's really different levels. You know, if you're not ready for that really high level, or you need a little bit of cybersecurity. It just really depends on what you need, but you'll have a consultation with one of our team members.
Great. And so if you're interested, you're on the call today, you're interested, contact Alma before September, maybe even no later than August, probably you need to.
Okay, definitely no later than August, because everything closes out.
Closes at September. And I know, speaking in a different conversation, Alma, I know since you're speaking from the workforce board's perspective in Texas, and the majority of your funding does apply only to companies in Texas. Is there any flexibility with some of your funds to maybe serve companies in southern New Mexico or Juarez?
Yeah, on the incumbent worker training, we can definitely expand a little bit beyond just El Paso, MSA, and include our partners in the region in New Mexico. So there's some flexibility with that. As far as Ciudad Juarez, what we can do, especially because of the remote learning aspect, is we can by design, what we can do is build out a cohort training, for example, for an employer, and then whether they want to integrate remote learning or bring, employees from their Ciudad Juarez side, to the training here. We just can't actually go into Mexico to provide those services, but there is flexibility in kind of merging that workforce along with the workforce if there's a presence here in El Paso.
Okay, great to know. Whether you're Texas, southern New Mexico, Juarez, there's maybe some value you can get out of this workforce program. So do contact Alma if any of this sounds intriguing to you. Alma, thank you so much for being with us. I'm gonna jump to, I know we've only got 6 minutes left, and I'm gonna jump to a couple of the questions that came in. So I see these couple of questions for Luis. Will you share the PowerPoint that Luis presented? I think that's doable, correct, Luis?
Sure.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, we're going to do the follow-up workshop in case you'd like to sign up on Comercia MX. The other question for Luis is, can we access the supplier listing from the platform to review the content?
Yes. On the link that I think the guys from Borderplex Alliance already put here in the chat, you go to the section of companies, and you can explore both the companies that are outside of Mexico, no, the buyers, and you also can explore the Mexican companies that are part of the network. And yeah, you can even click. You don't have to actually have a user or register a company to actually see this. But you can click on a company and you'll see the basic information of the company. And yeah, you can have an idea, pretty well idea of which type of companies are already part of Comercia MX.
Is that information downloadable into a spreadsheet?
No, it's only available through the platform.
Okay.
But if you're looking for a set of let's say of a specific companies in a specific sector, you can actually you can filter the information on the search engine, and also of course you can contact us if you're looking for a more expanded way of, of of this database. We can manage to do something. So please write to my email that is already there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. For Alma, does Workforce Solutions provide ongoing technical support for companies who begin selling online, such as support for questions about how to maintain the website and make updates?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is where the DTS program, oh, sorry, my camera's off. Yeah, absolutely. This is where the Digital Transformation Solutions program could really help you. So, and we can do that quite quickly as well.
Okay, thank you. This question was answered. Let's see, which one is it? Back to Louise, can you give us a testimonial or an example of an exporter who has benefited from the platform?
Sure. We have lots of good examples. One that I like a lot is the example of Tania Munoz. She's a Mexican producer of Mexican salsas and different type of Mexican products. She was already exporting to the U.S. actually at the beginning, but she was of course expanding her operations around the world. And through this platform, she found an opportunity with Grupo Brit, which is a famous big group of in Central America. They are mostly in airports. They have different stores in airports. So they posted an opportunity, and Tania postulated to it, and she's now exporting to several countries in Central America through this specific link that she made through Connect Americas and Comercia MX now. Another example is Grupo Alerlit. She's another Mexican businesswoman in the business of chocolates. They found business opportunities also through this type, through Comercia MX and Connect Americas. And they are exporting now to China and to other Asian countries, again, through a specific postulation. We have also other success stories, more in this in the capacity building of the exporters, companies that have access to new services of financing their exportation process. We are actually doing a huge effort to connect companies with this finance alternative service of credits to exporters that we have here in Mexico. So yeah, those are the stories.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Plenty of success stories. So I just want to say thank you to all of our presenters. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing this information. If you're in the audience and anything sounded great, resourceful to you, please do contact the individuals that presented today. And I want to close out by letting you know that our next meeting is actually our Binational Technology Forum, and that's going to be June 24th, 11:30 to 12. We're going to be talking about smart factories. We have some excellent presenters already lined up for that. It should be a really fascinating conversation. And our next meeting that we'll be focusing on exporting again will be in August. We're going to skip July because everyone goes on vacation. So those are the 2 meetings coming up. And I also wanted to mention that we have a digital twin project that Borderplex Alliance is working on with UTEP. And we're looking for businesses, small suppliers, manufacturers, and logistics companies to work with us on identifying your supply chain, putting into the digital twin, creating a brand new platform, very high tech, using cutting edge technology. So if you're interested in participating in that, please do reach out to me directly. And if Christian could just put my email address in the tech chat box, you'll have my contact info on that. So thank you all so much for being here with us today. And we look forward to seeing you again in our future meetings. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.